Ladies, gentlemen, and lady gentlemen's Andy here. If you don't know who I am into BDSM, I'm into kink. I'm usually pretty dominant, though as you're going to see in this video, I do sometimes sort of switch it up. I have been dating my lovely girlfriend Emmy for about 6 years now. We also like to date and sleep with women together, exploring BDSM, exploring kink, and we talk about a fair bit of that on this channel. I'm going to take the BDSM test. I actually already took it, but I will show you the results on the screen here so you can kind of have a look at them, but we'll talk about it at the end. And in this video, you're going to get to see maybe some of the things that I'm into, get your brain ticking about some of the things that you might be into, whether or not you're dominant or submissive. You might also want to take this test yourself. You can just go to bdsmtest.org. It's completely free, takes maybe 15 minutes to finish. It gives you a really good insight into what you might be into, maybe some of the things that you want to try in the bedroom with your partners. It often shows you kinks and sexual fantasies that you never really would have thought of. It's kind of a really good way to get the juices flowing. I mean, I could have worded that better. I guess literally get the juices flowing, but get you thinking about some of the stuff that you might want to try. It's also really helpful to give this test to your potential partners to see what they might be into, get them starting to write a sexual bucket list, and then you guys can come together. I mean, I guess literally come together. I am not wording things well this morning, am I? But come together and figure out what you guys want to try together. Emmy and I give this test to most of the partners that we end up meeting. It gives us a good sense of what they might be into, what we're going to try with them. Emmy took this test herself recently. She's someone who is a lot more submissive, but will occasionally be dominant with women. And if I gently encourage her, she will be dominant with me, but she kind of has to be in a mood or feeling that vibe. She did a video on this. I will link to that in the description below so you can see her results. All right, let's take this test. So if you go to bdsmtest.org, on this homepage here, you can just take the test anonymously. I never log in, so click next, make sure you're not a robot, enter some details about yourself. It's only asking really basic questions, so don't stress about the answers. But the bit that's interesting here is you have two versions of the test, a short and simple version or a little bit of a longer one. I always take the longer one. The short one is roughly 65 questions and the long one is roughly about 90 or so questions. It doesn't take that much longer to do the long one, so I always go with that. With here, it will say scope. I always just show all questions, but if there are some things that might trigger you or that you might not be into, such as submission, pain, which is what masochism is and stuff like that, or sadism, which is inflicting pain, you can skip those questions, but I always just take all questions. Click next. And so let's go through these questions. You kinky bastards and kinky girls can see what I'm into. So I like to be dominated, especially in the bedroom. I will say pretty strongly agree. It is something that I get turned on by a lot. It's just that a lot of women are not into that. And usually what I have found is if I want a woman to dominate me, I usually have to be dominant and tell them to dominate me. And so I kind of guide them through it or talk them through it. Occasionally, I will meet women who are just naturally dominant, but that is very rare, particularly with the types of women that Imogen and I like to date, who are women who are a little bit less experienced and require my guidance because, I'm a life coach or a coach. I like to coach and guide people. So yes, I do really like that. Most of the time, however, I am the one that is dominant. I like receiving pain during sex and BDSM and seeing the results of it afterwards. Kind of. I don't mind that. I find it mildly fun, I guess. So I'm probably going to put more on the side of slightly disagree. I prefer making the sexual decisions for my partner as this gives me control. Yes and no. So if you want a short version, I'm someone who's probably what would be known as a switch. I really, really, really love being in control, but at the same time, you guys and girls know me from this channel. I'm a bit of a hippie. I'm a bit of a free love person. I don't like to tell any of you what to do. So I like the part of dominating in the bedroom if someone wants me to do that and they consent to that, but I am as happy not making all the decisions. So I'm going to put agree for this one because I do really find it fun to make decisions for other people, but at the same time, I'm not unhappy if I'm not making the decisions. So yeah, we'll put agree for that one, but it's a little bit more nuanced to this. And by the way, if you're filling out this test yourself, you don't have to be perfect with the answers. You'll see at the end, it'll all make sense, but you don't have to get every single answer perfect. This isn't like a fucking test that you're being, tested on. It's more just like giving you an idea of what some things you might be into, what things you might not be into. So kind of have fun with this. Don't stress about having the perfect answers. This next one is talking more about like brattiness. I don't mind a little playful resistance from my partners. In the end, I'll win anyway. I absolutely strongly agree with that. I love a bit of brattiness. I find that very fun. I also find just general submission, if someone isn't bratty, they're not giving any sort of resistance, they're just doing everything that they're told. I find that fun too. And obviously consent plays into here. When they say playful resistance, they don't mean someone saying, no, stop. It's more just brattiness and naughtiness. And, you tell someone to do something like, hey, bend over. And they go, what happens if I don't? And then you're like, well, you're going to get a spank if you don't bend over. It's like playful and silly. So I really enjoy that. I genuinely really enjoy that. And generally speaking, okay, not even generally speaking, I am stronger than every woman that I've ever had sex with. That kind of just happens if you're a man. And if you go to the gym at all, you're probably going to be stronger than every single woman that you ever have sex with. And so, yeah, I like that. I definitely agree with the last statement. In the end, I'll win anyway. If they want me to, I'll make that clear. The next one, I like forcing my partner into submission much more than them submitting spontaneously. I will say I probably disagree with this one. Like, I can see a little bit of fun resistance, where we're just playing and they're like, no, I'm not going to bend over. And then I go, naughty girl, I'm going to have to punish you. And they go, oh, no, like, yeah, ha, ha. Like, fun resistance, like where it's clearly a game and you're being silly. I find that a little bit fun. I kind of enjoy that. But like, I much prefer when someone willingly like wants to submit. So yeah, I'm going to say I kind of disagree with this. Like I said, I'm kind of more of a free love hippie. I don't want to tell people what to do all the time unless they specifically ask me to tell them what to do, and then I happily will. So yeah, I'm going to go like relatively strongly disagree with that. This next one, feeling physically overpowered is one of the most liberating sexual feelings. I'm going to pick like probably disagree with this one. Like a couple of times I've gotten Imogen to tie me up or put handcuffs and I find that fun, but it's just not something that I've done a whole lot of. So maybe if I'd explored it more, I would be giving a different answer to this. But generally speaking, I am the one that is more physically like strong, and I am usually the one who's a little bit more dominant. So it's just something that I haven't explored. And you'll see that as you do this test, a lot of the things are things that you haven't ever really done, and your answers might change when you actually try them. And so again, this test can be a really nice way of like getting you starting to think about like, oh, this could be fun. Like you might read a question like this, and some of you listening might be like me. Maybe you've always been dominant and you've never really tried this. Or maybe you've just never really been submissive and you've never tried this thing of being overpowered. You read this question and you go, holy shit, that could be really fun. I think I want to try that. And so write it down on your bucket list and save it and see if you can find a partner or talk to your partners and see if they want to try this with you. Even as I'm going through this test, when I'm reading this, there's a girl that Imogen and I have just started dating who wants to try being dominant and wants to try, like she literally said on her bucket list is tying me, Andy, up. And her and Imogen would tease me, pleasure me, take their time with me, and dominate me. And when she said that, I was like, oh, that's something I've never really tried before. I think I'd be open to trying it and seeing how it feels. So ideally, I could command my partner and they'd obey me like a puppet no matter what I tell them to do. It is fun, and Imogen and I have played around with like extreme submission of like do everything I tell you. But at the same time, like I said, I'm a free love hippie. I don't really want someone to do something that they don't want to do. Actually, I might even pick like extremely strongly disagree with that. I don't want people to be a puppet. I want them to submit to me because they want to and because they choose to and because it's really sexy for them and because it adds to their self-esteem. I would never want someone to submit to me if I thought it was going to lower their self-esteem or make them like less happy and less independent as a person. I want people to submit because it brings them sexual pleasure in the bedroom. It makes them feel good to submit. I don't want them to do it just because I told them to. I don't like making sexual decisions. I prefer my partner to make them for me. I'm going to say like strongly disagree with that. I'm happy for my partners to make decisions, but I like making decisions. I'm someone that's pretty assertive. This next one, I love making my partners do really disgusting things purely for my own pleasure. So the word disgusting might have strong connotations for a lot of you, but what they're talking about here is more like humiliation or doing embarrassing things like, hey, I want you to flash your boobs for me in public. Or I want you to pee your panties or something and feel really embarrassed and dirty and like, oh my God, I'm so bad. Like, I can't believe I did this. So yes, that's something I'm definitely into. So I'm going to click like slightly agree on that. But like this last bit here, purely for my own pleasure, I only like them doing it when they actually want to. So yes, this is something that Imogen and I and some of the girls that we've seen have played around with, like doing dirty things, like peeing your panties, like doing something embarrassing in public as long as no one else can see it. Like, yes, that's something that we've played with, but it's not like my main fetish or something. This next one, I am willing to try anything once, even if I don't think I will like it. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's me to a T. I am like the experimentalist. I like going to new restaurants. I like going to new places. I never really eat in the same restaurant twice. I never want to visit the same landmark twice. I'm someone that just loves novelty and loves trying new things and loves exploring the world and getting out there and, you know, all of that. So absolutely agree. If there was an option that was like even more agree than that one, I would pick that. Like, this is me, Andy, to a core. I am someone that is deeply curious and wants to gain knowledge and try things and learn. Like, that's just me to a core. And this next one, physically restricting my partner during sex or BDSM, ropes, chains, blah, 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 is arousing. Yes, I'm going to pick extremely strongly for that. This is something that Imi and I do probably 90% of the time that we have sex with other people. By the way, if any of you are ever interested in me doing a video where it's maybe like a walkthrough, like me explaining what Imogen and I usually do with the sex that we have with other women, just let me know, leave a comment, and I can talk through what we usually do. But like 90 to 95% of the time, what we do with a new partner is we will meet them, you know, they come over, and we've already met them on a first date, but this is the second date. They will come over, we'll make out for a little bit, and then we will undress them, blindfold them, take them into the bedroom, chain them up or tie them up with ropes, cover them in oil, and just take our time really exploring their body, helping them have a really good time. But we use ropes and restraints probably 90 to 95% of the time when we have sex with a new partner. This next one, I like sending nudes or sexual pictures or videos of myself to others. So I'm going to say like, no, like I'm not against it. If someone said to me, send me a nude picture, I absolutely would. So maybe I'll pick this one, slightly not. Maybe I'll pick neutral actually. I'm neutral to that. But one thing that I do a lot that's really fun is I will tell Imogen, or I will tell another girl that we're seeing, I'll say, hey, send a nude picture to each other. With every girl that we date, we form a little group chat in either WhatsApp or Telegram or Instagram or something. We'll have a group chat of the three of us. I will get them to send nude pictures or videos to each other and talk dirty and get each other really horny, you know, sometimes dirty voice messages. So I find that really fun. So that like almost counts. It's like sort of that. But if it's me in particular sending nude pictures or videos, I'm neutral. I'll happily do it, but it's not a big turn on. All right, this next one is sort of similar to a previous question. I like to be totally helpless and at my partner's disposal, physically unable to resist what they do. I'm going to say this is something that I could be into, but I just haven't really done a lot. So maybe I'll pick like neutral actually. And again, some of these things that pop up are things that you might be into, but you haven't tried yet, and they kind of get you thinking about what you might want to try in the future. Receiving care, being spoiled, etc. are some of the main things I'm looking for in a relationship. And you'll see that some questions that pop up in this test are more to do with relationship stuff, not necessarily just in the bedroom. So this test covers relationship dynamics as well as sexual stuff. So for me personally, I love being spoiled with affection and with Imogen or other girls cooking for me and all of that, but it's definitely not like the things that I'm looking for in a relationship. Generally speaking, I'm the one that gives care. I'm the one that mentors and guides and sort of almost gives to other people, and they give to me too. But yeah, this is not necessarily something I'm looking for. So I'm going to pick neutral. Maybe I pick slightly less than neutral. It's not something I'm looking for. This next one, I'm probably just going to have to pick yes for. I have a thing for large age differences in sexual encounters or relationships. Yeah, I think we just got to go strongly agree on that because it's like Imogen is 12 years younger than me. Lots of the girls that we date are like 18 to 23. I also have a thing for older women too. It's just not something I've explored as much. So I think we just go strongly agree with that. And part of the reason, by the way, that I like younger women is I just find that they are more open-minded, more willing to learn and grow, and they just almost make better... It's going to sound like a funny way of phrasing it, but better like almost clients. So like they're not clients, but in the same way that I coach my clients and they come to me very willing to listen, I've just found that younger women tend to be more open to the dynamic that I like to give, which is me giving advice and helping them and asking about their goals and sort of almost coaching them or mentoring them. And women that are in their 30s or that are my age probably don't need my mentorship as much. And so I like to mentor people. And it just kind of happens that younger women tend to be the ones that want mentorship more. So it's not that I necessarily seek out younger women for the fact that they're younger, but it's more just that they are more open to learning and trying things and listening to me and all of that. And I enjoy that dynamic. When it comes to sexual acts, my partner's discomfort is pretty much irrelevant if it gives me more pleasure. I'm going to pick like extremely disagree with that. I very much like everyone to have a fun time. I want them all to be comfortable and having fun. And obviously sometimes there's a tiny bit of discomfort, like some spanking. It hurts a little bit in the moment, but I want them to be wanting that and not just putting up with it because it gives me more pleasure. Next one, I enjoy playing or acting like a pet animal. I'm just going to say like no, but lots of girls that I date, including Imogen, are into this. They like to have a collar and leash on them and act like a little cat or a dog or anything like that. And that is known as pet play. Okay, here we go. And so this is a similar question to before, but now flipped around. And you're going to see that a lot of questions in this test are the same question, but turned around. Before it said receiving care and being spoiled by my partner is something I look for. Now it says giving care and spoiling my partner is something that I look for. Absolutely, yes. I'm just going to pick strongly agree with that. I like to give. It's obviously why I'm a coach. It's obviously why I give away all this free content. It's why I made all of my video courses, you know, like the Play to Win video course and the threesome guide, and all of my guides are $1. I want to give as much as I possibly can, so strongly agree with that. Being treated with little or no respect during sex or BDSM arouses me. I'm going to pick like pretty strongly disagree with that. This next one, there is no reason why sex would have to happen in private spaces, isolated from the outside world. They're basically saying, are you open to doing sex in public? I would say neutral. I don't mind doing sexual stuff in public. Actually, I find that kind of fun, but I don't want anyone else to see it. So it still feels somewhat private to me. What I mean by that is I'm happy to fool around in like a park or something where there's like nobody around. I'm very happy to do that, but I don't necessarily want people to see. This next one, I'll often put up a fight in bed, but that doesn't mean I want to win that fight at all. I'm just going to say strongly disagree. I don't ever really like resist or put up a fight or any of that sort of stuff. But if you're into that, like that can be a lot of fun. A lot of the women that I date are very much into not putting up a fight, but being like a little brat or saying no with a big cheeky smile on their face, knowing that I'm going to then spank them. And, you know, it's a fun little game. So yeah, I find the romantic aspect in a relationship much more important than the sexual or kinky aspect. I'm going to say neutral. I find them both like as important to me. I love romance. I love affection. I love cuddles. I love to be very, very, very gentle and intimate with all of the women that we date, and obviously very much with Imogen. You know, I like romance. I like holding hands, but I love the sex and the kink. So I'm going to say neutral, which is me saying both equally. I currently have a master or a mistress in my life. No, though occasionally Imogen will do the dominatrix stuff, but like I said, I have to encourage her and tell her, like, I want you to do this. She's very naturally submissive, but she will happily be dominant if I like guide her and tell her to do it. I would like to serve in a formal setting with explicit slave training, prescribed positions. Not really. No, I'm just going to say strongly disagree. My ultimate goal in life is to please my partners, and there's hardly any. So this is an interesting one because I'm always very dominant and I'm not exactly in the submissive position of trying to please other people. And yet I like seeing other people happy. I probably wouldn't phrase it as like pleasing my partners, but I'm someone that likes to give, and I like my partners to have a good time. I like to facilitate their happiness and whatever goals they might have and whatever kinks they want to try. So I guess in a way that is kind of like pleasing my partner, but it's more like facilitating their happiness. So I'm going to pick like slightly agree on that one. It's not pleasing them, but it's like helping them get what they want. And as for the second part, there's hardly anything I wouldn't do to reach that goal. Absolutely. Same with my coaching clients. Like I'll do whatever I need to do. So maybe I'll say like pretty strongly agree. This last one, I have a need to constantly try new things. Yes, absolutely, strongly agree with that. Assuming I was single, I would like to join an existing couple's relationship for sexual and emotional purposes. I'd be open to it, but like probably not. So I'm going to say relatively disagree. I'd rather just make that myself. You know what I mean? I guess it's something I've never really thought about. Being physically restricted during sex is arousing, you know, ropes and chains. I will say like slightly yes. Again, it's just something that I haven't done a whole lot of. So I'm going to say slightly yes. I enjoy feeling like a prey hunted by a predator. So this is another type of fantasy or fetish called like predator/prey, or it's like being animalistic. So I'm going to say I would find that hot if a woman was like that. I'm going to say slightly agree. It just isn't something that I've ever done because, again, I haven't dated, or Imogen and I haven't dated a lot of dominant women. Before I met Imogen, there was 2 women that I dated for a tiny bit that were dominant, but like I only ever saw them a couple of times because both of them ended up moving. Like they were only here for a little bit. So I'd be open to that. but it just isn't something I've done a lot. I don't have any sort of specific fetish or absolutely wrong, like just fucking, I'm into almost every single fetish that you could ever imagine, as long as it was something that the other person actually wanted and it wasn't gonna like lower their self-esteem. Being part of a group of slaves that serves one master and mistress sounds like a life that would really suit me. I'm gonna say absolutely not. No, not even close to it. I would like to be completely tied up during sex or BDSM. I'm gonna say like relatively agree. I think that would be fun. I enjoy being kept as a pet in a cage, eating out of a bowl, being petted. Absolutely not. No fucking way. Like freedom is the most important thing to me. And that just sounds like prison. And I've talked about this in previous videos. I already went to prison when I was like 19. So once was enough. I don't need to be in a cage. I love seeing the fear in my partner's eyes when they know I'm going to inflict pain on them. I'm going to say no. Fear isn't something that turns me on. If it does turn you on and you consent to it and your partner consents to it, then have fun with that. But that's just not something that I find fun. I don't really like to see people afraid. If I'm going to inflict pain, like spanking, I want them to enjoy it. I want them to moan. I want them to be really, really having a fun time. I wouldn't want them to be scared or feeling fear or extreme discomfort or anything like that. I like to be sexually degraded and humiliated by my partner sometimes. I'm going to say pretty strongly disagree. Like, I don't mind some sexual name calling and stuff, but being degrading and humiliated isn't something that I'm super into. And most of the time, most of the girls that we have sex with are not really into humiliation or degraded either. If we do, it's more in a fun way. Like if we use certain names, like we call them a slut or a whore, that's with like a smile on the face, like it's a fun thing, rather than like feeling really degraded. And nothing wrong with degradation or humiliation. It just isn't like super what Emmy and I are into. We'll do it if somebody asks us to, but it's not like our default. And even that said, if they asked us to, I would want to make sure that it was in a way that didn't take away from their self-esteem. I wouldn't want to lower someone's self-esteem by degrading or humiliating them. I enjoy playing a different age than what I technically am. No, but some of the girls like to do that, where it's like you play up the innocent parts of you. And even then, when I say that, they wouldn't play a different age. They're the same age. They're just like being more innocent. But I know what the question is basically saying. This is called age play. It's something that I'm not super into, but that said, like Imogen will definitely play very innocent, and so will a lot of the girls that we see. So that's sort of the same thing, but not really. I would like to be nothing but a 24/7 sex slave. Absolutely not. Treating my partner with little or no respect during sex arouses me. Absolutely not. Like that's just like the lowest thing that I would ever find hot. I like people to be respected. And by the way, no hate if you're into this. I want to make that very clear. Like all the stuff that I'm not into, if you're into it, have fun as long as you and your partners consent. And I would say as long as you feel like it adds to their self-esteem and adds to yours. I generally speaking wouldn't advise doing something that makes you both feel a little bit worse off afterwards. My mission is to leave women better than I found them. And the mission of all the girls that I date and Imogen is to leave me and each other better than they found them. And that seems to be a pretty nice place or a pretty nice mindset. Is the person better off after the sex that we have or after the kinks that we try? If I don't feel like they're better off, then I probably won't do it. Or I'll find a different way to do it that does make them feel better off. I like being forced into submission. Not really. No, it's just not something that turns me on. I would like it when my partner is completely tied up during sex. Absolutely. Strongly agree. Okay, so we're getting through it, you see. We're at 45%. So like I said, it doesn't take that long to do, and I am talking to you with every single question. If you do this yourself, you can blaze through this whole test in like 10, 15 minutes. I have plenty of sexual fantasies that I would like to try out, much more than most of my kinky peers. Absolutely. I'm a kinky boy. Imogen is a kinky girl. Most of the girls that we date are very kinky. We screen for that. We specifically say, what's on your sexual bucket list? We will ask people or encourage them to take this BDSM test. And if we find that they just don't have a lot of kinks or they're not open to trying a lot of kinks, then we generally speaking don't date them. We screen a lot for kinky people. So this next one is age play. I find it adorable when my partner acts or dresses childlike or when they engage in childlike activities such as coloring in a coloring book or playing on a playground. Not really. So the first part, yes, I like it when Imogen dresses cute. I like it when she's innocent. I don't like the next parts though. I don't want her to act like a child. And by the way, if you're into that, great. Like there's a whole domain of people into that. It's called age play. So I like the first part. I'm struggling to answer this question because the first part is yes, and then the second part is no. So maybe I'm going to say neutral. Like the first part is definitely a yes. I like when Imogen's like innocent and cute and like a little bit bratty and a little bit naughty. I find that fun, but just not the second bit. I could be sexually submissive now and be sexually dominant another time. Absolutely. So I'm going to pick yes. Like I said, I haven't often been the one on the receiving end, like the submission, but when I have, I've really enjoyed it. Like I said, I usually have to talk women, not talk them into it, but like guide them and tell them what to do. And I've found that almost every woman wants to try being dominant and can be pretty decent at it. I just have to guide them. Even the most submissive women. Again, Imogen and I usually screen for submissive, less experienced people, and all of them, pretty much all of them, enjoy being dominant, but I have to tell them exactly what to do. I have to basically talk them through it step by step. So yes, I'm very much into that. That's called being a switch, by the way. You switch between being submissive, you switch between being dominant, and you can do it in the way that I do it, where you are still kind of dominant, but you're encouraging the other person to dominate you. So you're still like in control because you're giving instructions and you're telling them what to do to you. That is called topping from the bottom. You're kind of being a top or a dominant, but you're on the bottom, so you're submissive. So you're in the bottom, but you're topping. I'm willing to pay for porn if it really suits my sexual interests. I'm going to say like relatively strongly agree. I have paid for like OnlyFans and stuff in the past. Actually, you know what? Maybe I put neutral. I've only ever done that maybe like 10 times in my whole life. Like I'm very willing to pay for it. I just don't feel like I need to because I'd rather just do it myself. And I find that fun. It's like if there's something that I wanted to see in porn, Imogen and I would just do it, or we'd just do it with another girl. So I'm going to say neutral. I'm not against paying for it, but I'd rather do it myself. I'm totally cool with my partners having sex with other people. Yes, strongly agree, though this is one that I have worked on a lot, and I can do a separate video on that if you guys want. I used to be very insecure with the idea of Imogen ever sleeping with anybody else. I used to be very insecure about the women that we would date sleeping with other people. I've done a lot of letting go and working on my insecurity and my jealousy. And now if Imogen was like, hey, I'm going to go have sex with some fucking black guy with a giant 50-inch cock, I'd be like, great, I hope you guys have fun. And that took me a long time to get to. You know, any of you who've followed my content or followed, you know, our channel for a long time, you'll know that in the past, I wasn't okay with that. The relationship that Imogen and I had was one where it was like, we're going to sleep with girls together, and I, Andy, will never sleep with girls by myself, and you, Imogen, will never sleep with guys by yourself, and we'll just only ever have like threesomes with women together. And we've done a lot of letting go over the last couple of years, and now she's at a point where she's like, yeah, look, if you want to have sex with other women without me, that's fine. And I'm like, if you want to have sex with guys or girls without me, that's fine. It isn't something we've done much at all, really. There is a girl that we've been dating for about a year and a half now, and Imogen has had sex with her, just the two of them, a few times. I have had sex with her, just the two of us, like I think once, and we really enjoyed that. So yeah, the answer now is yes, I am totally cool with my partners having sex with other people, but that took me a lot of time, and Imogen, a lot of discussions and time and effort and letting go and like Buddhism and Stoicism and asking ourselves, what do we actually want? And ultimately, I wanted to get to the point where I could be okay with my partners having sex with other people, because like, it's not up to me to fucking control them. They can do whatever they want. And I want to be a person that can be happy for other people doing what they want. It's kind of the whole role of me as a coach. I facilitate your happiness, whatever it is that you want to do, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. I help you do that. And so it made sense for me, or it's what I wanted, to eventually get to a point where I let go of all the jealousy, all the insecurity, and my partners can do whatever they want. By the way, all of that said, if you don't want your partners having sex with other people, aka monogamy, or a one-sided open relationship or something, that's fine. You guys just talk about it. And as long as you're both happy with that, then beautiful. It's not up to me to tell you that you all have to be okay with your partners fucking everybody else. No, I want you guys and girls to do whatever you want to do. That's the whole point of me answering this question. I want people to do what they want. And so if you read this and go, fuck that, I want my partners to be monogamous to me, and I want to be monogamous to them. Beautiful. I think that's amazing. Like, I'm all for everybody doing what they want. You just talk about it and you both agree. Like, yeah, we want to be monogamous. Cool. Great. Have fun with that. That's beautiful. In an ideal relationship, my partner would see me as a mere object. To them, I only exist when they're horny. No, absolutely not. No. I like intimacy. I like deepness. I like to know someone outside the bedroom. However, in the past, I did have quite a few relationships where I did only see the person as like a booty call. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, just be honest about what you're looking for. And if you do just want like, you know, maybe I wouldn't use the word a mere object, but if you want someone that's just a hookup, like just be honest about that. Just say like, look, I'm just looking for something sexual. We would just contact each other when we want to have a booty call, and we'd have crazy good sex. It'd be beautiful, but like nothing more than that. Is that something that you're open to? And they'll say yes or they'll say no. So for me personally, it's a no. I like to build stuff with Imogen and all the girls that we date. So yeah, that's a no for me. Making my partner suffer for my pleasure is one of the best things in life. No, for me, that's a hard no. Absolutely not. Living with a group of slaves owned by me and serving me would be my ultimate life goal. I'm going to say absolutely not. No, I want people to do whatever they want. And the idea of slaves is not really hot to me. It used to be, but it's not really hot to me. And living with them, no, I don't want to live with people. I like my own space, motherfuckers. Like, nobody can live in my apartment. Imogen and I live separately. She lives literally across the road from me. So we're like 30 seconds walk from each other. But yeah, I like my own space. It's no big deal when things I try turn out bad for me. It's part of the risk and it's a necessary part of discovering what works and what doesn't. Absolutely fucking strongly agree. This is my life philosophy. Life is a big experiment. You know, I like to try different things. And if it doesn't work, I don't even think it turned out bad for me. How could it turn out bad for me? I learned something. There is no failure. There is no rejection. Nothing ever goes bad. Even if I hurt myself or someone hurt me, cool, I learned something. Amazing. You can just have cuddles afterwards and talk about it. And, you know, I can do some letting go and meditation and help myself feel better. So yes, I strongly agree with this one. And by the way, some people are very risk averse. You might not want to risk things and risk pain. You might prefer safety and security. That's great. Like, that's the whole point of this test, figuring out what you like. I'm currently in a long-term relationship. Well, yeah, 6 years is pretty decently long. And the girl that we've been seeing for a while now, we've seen her for 1.5 years. Some people would call that sort of long-term. I do plan on being with Imogen for as long as we both possibly can, as long as we both possibly want to. If that was for the rest of our lives, I'd be very, very happy with that. So yes. I have plenty of sexual fantasies which would at the very least be unethical to execute. Okay, this is an interesting one. I'm trying to think about it. There are a lot of fantasies that I have that require the partner to really be into it. I'm going to pick strongly disagree, and let me explain this one. I have a lot of fantasies which for a lot of people would be unethical to execute. Like a lot of very kinky fantasies, a lot of stuff that would involve like maybe having sex in public, like out in a park or something, as long as there was nobody around, you know, stuff like that, which for some people would be unethical, if they weren't into it. However, I very, very, very much want my partners to be into the stuff that I'm into. And so that's completely ethical. So I'm actually going to pick strongly disagree with this one. I think everything that I do, I try and be as ethical as I possibly can. But yes, I have some very fucking kinky, filthy fantasies. You know, probably the most, like, the first one that comes to mind is like pee play or water sports. I love peeing on girls. I love them peeing on me. For some people, that would be very unethical. Like, if they weren't into that and I just peed on them, yes, that would be incredibly fucking unethical and dirty and probably disgusting for them. But I find women that want to try that and I ask them and we talk about it. And yeah, so I'm going to pick strongly disagree. I like to be ethical and kind and compassionate, and I'm a big hippie at heart. I would like to provide my partners with explicit slave training, like train them in prescribed physical positions and rituals. I'm going to say like, yes. I wouldn't use the word slave, but I know what this is getting at. I like to guide and teach the women that I'm with and tell them what to do if they want me to. And I ask them first, you know, I basically give them coaching or mentoring. So I'm going to pick yes for that one. In questionnaires like these, I tend to go for the extreme answers rather than the middle ones. I don't know, you guys can tell me. I guess you've watched me take the test up until this point. I'll say like slightly agree. I think I'm pretty well measured. I think sometimes they're extreme. Like, look at all these. These are extreme. That's extreme, extreme. All these are like on the extreme edge. But I think I've like very carefully thought about what I'm going to say. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that answer. So it's like slightly towards yes. Like, I do tend to a lot of the time pick a strong yes or a strong no. So maybe we can pick like pretty much yes. For lots of this stuff, I'm quite certain of what I want. It's either a strong yes or a strong no, isn't it? But I do try and think about the middle answers and like, yeah, that feels accurate. I enjoy keeping my partner as a pet, providing them with a cage, feeding them out of a bowl. Not really. No, like we do pet play and stuff like that. But like, I wouldn't want to keep them as a pet. If I could not fulfill all of my partner's sexual desires, I would encourage them to see other people to fill the gaps. I'm going to pick like pretty much disagree with that because I feel like I could fulfill pretty much all of my partner's sexual desires. I'm just very like experimentalist and like it's never really come to it so far that I've had to say like, hey, go find someone else. I can't do this. But then again, if they ever did tell me something that I wasn't into, I would be like, why don't you just go find someone else to do it? So like maybe I'll pick, I don't know, slightly disagree with that. I would encourage someone to see someone else if I couldn't do what they wanted, but I've just found that I can do almost everything. I'm not saying I'm good at everything, but like I'm willing to at least try everything that my partners are into. My partner having multiple partners while I'm monogamous, except for threesomes, sounds like a perfectly acceptable, fuck no, I don't want to be monogamous, like fuck no. Like, no, I made it very clear to Imogen right from the very beginning, from the moment we first saw each other. Like, I'm not monogamous. I will never be that. Don't ever expect that to change. If you date me, you have to be okay with non-monogamy and open relationships and all of that. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. And I say that to all the people that we date. I'm like, hey, by the way, like, we're going to see other people and you can do whatever you want. Like, we just want you to be happy. But let us know if you're sleeping with other people and we'll use condoms. We always just use condoms by default. And if you ever only want to see us, maybe we won't use condoms if we all get STD checked and blah, blah, blah. And that's like a separate discussion. I can do a separate discussion on STDs and protection and contraception if you guys want. And by the way, I've had a vasectomy, so I can never get someone pregnant. So that's not even a consideration for me. But I still like to be safe, and so does Imogen with condoms and stuff. I'm happy to do a video on that if you guys want to. I often behave in animalistic ways during sex, like growling, howling. Well, I won't howl, but growling and biting. Yes, so I'm going to pick strongly agree. And I like when animals become more, when girls become more animalistic during sex. So yes, that's a strong yes for me. I love that. It's like getting in touch with your base nature and just letting yourself be a dumb, horny animal. That's really hot to me. In an ideal relationship, I should have no hard limits. My life should belong to my partner. Fuck no. Like, no, 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 no. And I would never want any of my partners to say yes to that. Like, they should have no limits. Their life should belong to me. They should decide what is good for... No, fuck no. No, 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 no. I'll go a long way to make my appearance match my partner's desires. I'm say neutral. Like, I've changed a few things that Imogen likes, but she would never ask me to. Like, she's very non-controlling, and I'm very non-controlling with her. But she's changed some things that she knows I like. Like, she might dress a certain way because she knows I like it. I might groom myself a certain way. Like, I don't have a mustache, for instance. I don't think I'd ever want a mustache, but I know she's really not into mustaches, so I've just always made sure that I'm like very nicely shaved, and I shave every day here on my mustache so it's nice and smooth. Like, that's something I do for her. I sometimes dress in clothes that I know she will like if we're going out, because I like to see her happy. So yeah, I'll say that sometimes I do, but I definitely don't go a long way. I'm still me. I still like to be me, and I want her to be her. But I put in a little bit of effort. Like, if I know my partner likes something and I'm happy to do it, like it doesn't feel like a compromise, then fuck yeah, I'll do it. So neutral. If part of my sexual desires are not filled with my partner, I'd want to see other people to fill the gaps. I'm going to say, I don't know, this is a difficult one actually. I'm going to say like sort of agree, because honestly, like Imogen will just try fucking everything. Like, it's not really something that I need to. Like, I like us having sex with other people, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't do it. So I guess you could say, yeah, that's why I've said slightly agree. Like, Imogen can't give me threesomes by herself, and I can't give her a threesome by herself. And so we require seeing other people if I want to explore threesomes. So it's like, yeah, quite agree with that. Maybe I'll pick slightly more agree with that, but she honestly will just try everything. And I would rather go to her first. If I had a sexual fetish, I would put her first and say, hey, can you and I try this? And she does the same with me. I probably wouldn't seek it out by default with someone else. I enjoy feeling like a predator hunting its prey. Absolutely strongly agree. So like, again, only if they want me to, but I very much like getting animalistic during sex, and yeah, I love all that stuff. I like it when my partner takes on a nurturing and guiding, almost parental role in the relationship. I'm going to say pretty much disagree. Imogen is very nurturing and sweet and loving, but she definitely doesn't guide me, and she's not parental. Actually, maybe I'll pick really strongly disagree. I like her nurturing side, but she doesn't guide me, and she's not the parental role. I am. Like, I'm usually the one that mentors because, you know, I'm a coach. I'm a life coach. I enjoy watching other people being naked or have sex. Fuck yes, absolutely. I like my partners to submit to me 24/7, and I'm willing to take the responsibility that comes with it. Absolutely fuck no. No. Generally speaking, my partners only submit to me in the bedroom, and that's about it. I want them to be their own individual free person outside of that. I want to facilitate their happiness and their independence and all of that. I don't want them to submit to me 24/7, like hell no. And if you're into that, great. It's just not really my thing. I like my partners to be completely in charge in the bedroom, ordering me around. I'm going to pick like pretty much disagree. Like, it's something that I would find fun. It's just not something that I've really done a lot. If I could make some money selling porn clips of myself, I definitely would. Absolutely. We've done that in the past. And I obviously have like nude pictures up on my blog of myself and the girls that we date. And, obviously I ask permission and consent and all of that. And I write sex stories over on my blog. I'm always writing about the sex that we have, and I'll write a little story, like a little write-up. Being in fear of what my partner is going to do to me is arousing. Fuck no, absolutely not. I feel the need to serve my partner and treat them with the highest respect, addressing them as a superior. I'm going to say like pretty much disagree. Again, the times when Imogen and I have done like femdom stuff, like she's in the lead, that's really fun. Talking back to one's dominant in a teasing, disobeying way should be part of the sub's fun. So that's like brattiness. I don't like the word should. It's like I'm very open to this and I find this extremely fun. But I also find it extremely fun when a girl just like completely submits and is just like being a quote good girl, and she's just saying yes to everything as long as she wants to say yes to it. Like she's not talking back or being bratty. So I don't like the word should there. But I'm going to say like pretty strongly agree because I find it really fun. I love the naughtiness and like teasing and being silly and disobeying and be like, no, I'm not going to do what you say. And you're like, oh, am I going to have to punish you? And she's like, maybe, I don't know. Are you going to have to punish me? And you're like it's a fun little silly game. I find that really fun. It's almost like banter. I find that really fun. When it comes to sexual acts, my own discomfort is pretty much irrelevant if it allows me to give my partner more pleasure. I'm going to say like strongly disagree. And I don't want any of my partners to be strongly uncomfortable either. If it, like, I wouldn't want that. I don't need physical pleasure from sex. If my partner is enjoying it, that's all I need. Okay, so this is a really interesting answer. So up until maybe like 1 month ago, my answer to this would have been hell no. I need physical pleasure. But about a month ago, starting from that, there's been a few times when Imogen and I have played with someone and Imogen and her have just done everything and I've basically just watched. We've done that a couple of times now and I haven't got my dick out. I haven't had any pleasure. I haven't had any sex, or I've only had sex for like maybe 5 seconds and then I kind of put it away and just watch the two of them together. That's been really fun. So I'm actually going to pick like relatively agree with this. This is something that I'm exploring more, is just like watching the two of them have fun, and I will guide them and tell them what to do and all of that. So yeah, and I see that they're both having fun and that really does feel like all I need in that moment. Yeah, I'm going to pick pretty much agree with that. That's actually quite fun to me lately. I enjoy verbally degrading my partner or calling them humiliating names during sex. Like kind of, I'm going to pick like relatively agree with that one because I do like to use words like, slut and whore and good girl and bad girl and, stuff like that, but only if they want to. And I don't want to do it humiliating them. I don't want to humiliate them. I want to be degrading if they want that, like using filthy names because that's naughty and it's taboo and it feels good. But I don't want them to feel worse about themselves afterwards. So I'm going to pick pretty much agree with that, but I don't like the humiliation part of it. Sometimes watching people have sex is more fun than participating. Like I said, I'm going to pick like pretty strongly agree with that because I've been trying that more. And yes, I agree. It's pretty fucking fun to watch for me. I enjoy it when my partner plays or acts like a pet animal, dog, cat, pony. Yep, I strongly agree with that. That's called pet play. I really like that. Imogen will sometimes put on like cute little cat ears, like a Nico girl, if any of you were into like Japanese culture. And maybe she'll put in a little butt plug that looks like a cat tail. And she'll kind of walk around on all fours with a collar and leash. I find that really fun. That's like really sexy to me. It's almost like a form of like cosplay, almost. Lots of cosplay girls dress up as cats and stuff, so that's fun. I like to be completely in charge in the bedroom and order my partners around. Yeah, strongly agree. I find that fun. The idea of being tortured sexually is appealing. I'm going to say like relatively disagree with that. Like it would depend on what the torture was. If it was like orgasm torture, which basically means someone gets you really close to orgasm, but then stops at the last possible second, like edging you or gooning, like I find that really fun. But like physically tortured in terms of pain, no, I don't really find that fun. Having to do really disgusting things for my partner's pleasure sounds pretty arousing. Like I'm going to say neutral. Like I do like to do really filthy things, but the word disgusting, actually, yeah, I'm going to say slightly disagree. I like to do filthy things, but it doesn't feel disgusting to me. It feels like something fun that we're both doing together. So I'm going to pick like actually, I might even pick more disagree with that. I don't like the word disgusting. I would never want someone to do something disgusting for me, even though other people might think what we're doing is disgusting. I wouldn't want the person themselves to find it disgusting. I would want them to find it fun and naughty and cute and taboo. I wouldn't want them to feel disgusted when they do it. I would be willing to leave everything I have behind to live the BDSM life of my dreams. Absolutely fucking not. No, not even in a billion years. No. I like inflicting pain during sex or BDSM and seeing the results afterwards, like marks or bruises. Yes, maybe not tears, but yes, I strongly agree with that. Only if they want to. For me, that's like a hard boundary. I've got to know that they want me to spank them. They've got to beg for it. I make people beg for it. And I will start off really gently with a spank. And then I'll say, how was that? Do you want it harder? And then if they're like, please, harder. And then I'll go up until the point where they say, like, that's enough. Like, don't go any harder. So yeah, I really like that. I find that really naughty and fun. And I'm quite rough during sex. Again, only if the partner wants it. And so I tend to like grip quite hard with my hands. I will sometimes accidentally bruise someone just by like the way that I hold their body. Without even meaning to. I'm just kind of like relatively rough or firm, I guess you would say. So yes, I like that. I could not be always dominant or always submissive. I need both. I think I would actually be okay if I was always dominant. I wouldn't be okay if I was always submissive. I need both. You know what? I'm going to pick pretty much agree. I think if you said to me, Andy, you always have to be dominant for the rest of your life forever. You never ever get to have a woman take the lead. I'd be pretty okay with that. But I would prefer if sometimes I get to have a woman take the lead a little bit. And again, most of the time, like I said, I have to kind of guide them and tell them like, hey, I want you to pin my wrists above my head. I want you to be rougher with me. Like, I want you to slap my face. I want you to be extra kinky with me. Spit in my mouth. Like, I have to tell them to do it most of the time. So yeah, I'm going to say like relatively agree. I do want both. It's a lot of fun, but I'd be okay if I only ever had to be dominant forever. I like to dominate my partner, especially in the bedroom. Absolutely. I like to sexually degrade and or humiliate them sometimes. I'm going to say like pretty much agree with that. Yeah, I don't like the humiliation bit. I like the naughty humiliation. Like sometimes I have made girls pee their panties in front of me, which can obviously be very like naughty and degrading and humiliating, but they want to do it. They have a smile on their face when they're doing it, or sometimes they're not smiling, but like they really want to do it. And if they ever gave me any hint that they weren't okay with it, I would stop. I want them to have fun, basically. I will naturally take on a nurturing and guiding, almost parental role in a relationship. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. I'm very much like a coach or a mentor with the girls that I date. The idea of torturing someone sexually is appealing. I'm going to say like relatively disagree with that. Like orgasm torture, yes, but not like physical pain torture. If my partner would really enjoy using me as a urinal, I would happily let them. You guys and girls know what I'm going to pick for this. Absolutely. Fuck yes. Are you kidding me? This is like one of my biggest fantasies. I have done this so many times. You don't even know. And I've done the same with women so many times. You don't even know. That's one of my like kinkier fantasies for sure. I'd like to submit to my partner 24/7. Fuck no. I want my partner to serve me and address me as a superior. I'm going to say like kind of yes. Like I do find that fun. I don't know. Like at the same time, outside the bedroom, I don't want them to see me as a superior. I don't want anyone to ever see me as a superior. I might actually pick neutral for that. Like even in the bedroom when they serve me, I don't want them to see me as a superior. I want them to see me as like the dominant one who's like taking the lead and guiding them and looking after them. And yeah, I don't want them to see me as a superior. So I might even pick slightly no on that one. Like, I don't want to be better than them, if that makes sense. I want to be stronger than them. I want to be taking the lead. I want to maybe have more knowledge or experience than them. I don't want them to see me as a superior. I enjoy dressing or behaving like a child. Not really, not at all. I enjoy being verbally degraded or being called humiliating names during BDSM. I'm going to pick slightly no on that one. I'm okay with it, like but it doesn't massively turn me on. And last two questions. I want to meet more kinky, like-minded people. I'm willing to put effort into that. If there was an answer that was like absolutely fuck yes, I would pick that. Then they ask you the question, we plan on launching a dating app, blah, blah, blah. Do you want an email? No. If a new awesome kink or BDSM project was launched, I'd like to be kept up to date. I'm going to pick yes, but then they're going to ask for my email. The answer is no. And then we get the results. And then they ask for help on improving the quiz. Ignore that. Let's have a look at the fucking answers. Dun, 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 dun. Here's my test results. So here they are on the screen, and you can see it gives you like a percentage rating of each one of the different almost like categories of BDSM or kink that you might be interested in. The higher the percentage, the more likely you are to enjoy that. But even that said, some of the stuff that rates lower, like you can see right down the very end, I have things on there like slave and pet play and stuff. Even though you've rated very low for that, you might still want to try those things and experiment a little bit. So this is kind of just like a little bit of a bucket list to show you some things that you're definitely going to be into and some things that you might be into, and then some things that maybe you'd be willing to try or maybe you wouldn't. And you can see I rate very highly for things like experimentalist, which is someone that just wants to try new things. I rate very high for switch. You know, I love being in control, but then I also love when a woman takes control. I rate very high for primal sex, which is passionate, almost animalistic sex. Obviously very high for dominant, very high for rigger, and rigger just means somebody who like ties ropes or like ties somebody up and restrains them. I rate high for voyeur. I rate high for daddy, which is sort of the dominant who takes the lead a little bit in a more gentle way and looks after the submissive and mentors them and guides them. I obviously am a life coach, so I love that. And you can see as you go down that list, there's some things that I'm sort of willing to do, but a little bit less into. And then right at the bottom is the things that I don't find as fun. You know, things like being a slave. I just am not really into slavery in any way. But if you are, beautiful. Lots of people rate very highly for slave. I'm just a little free love hippie who wants everyone to be happy and free. And so the idea of slavery is not really me as a person. So yeah, those are my results. And like I said, you can see the ones at the very top that I'm very much into. Those might be things that I go and try a whole lot of, you know, experimentalism, switching, dominant, tying people up, all of that. And so if you take this test yourself and whatever you rank for at the very top of the page, you know, with the highest percentages, those are probably the things that you would want to try first. They're the things that you're obviously the most into. Then you would scroll down a little bit and find the ones here that are more in the middle, you know, like the 50% and the 60% and the 30%. These are things that you might want to try a little bit of, and maybe you'd like them, maybe you wouldn't. And then you scroll down the bottom and these are maybe the things that you won't want to do as much of. And so this gives you a really nice, like I said, guide to some things that you might want to try. And the real fun comes from when you do this test yourself and then give this to your partners or your potential partners, and you can kind of see where there might be some overlap or see where you might have some compatibility. For instance, if you rate really highly for dominant, which is you're the person that takes the lead and likes to initiate and sort of come up with the idea of what you're going to do next. If you rate really highly for dominant and then your partner rates really high for like submissive or slave or boy-girl, which is a type of like submission, or pet, or degradee, which is the person getting degraded, or masochist, which is the person receiving pain, or brat, which is a form of like submission where you're being a little bit cheeky and you're, you know, saying no and being like, no, you can't spank me, ha ha ha, like you're being silly and saying no, or rope bunny, which rope bunny is the person that wants to be tied up. The point is, if your partner ranks really highly for being submissive and you rank really highly for dominant, wow, then you realize you have some compatibility. Or if you rank really highly for like switch and experimentalist like I do, and your partner does as well, you can go, holy crap, we're going to have fun trying everything. So this is a really nice way of seeing what things you guys are compatible with and what things you might want to try. And like I said, you can give this test to somebody before you even date them if you want to, and make sure there's compatibility there, which is something that I do and the Imogen does with the girls that we date. So yeah, that's the results of my test. Hope you had fun watching this video with me. This was a lot of fun to do. I will leave a link in the description below to the video that Imogen did taking this test as well. You can see her results. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. If you want more help with BDSM or sex and dating or money or business or goals or self-improvement or any of that beautiful stuff, I have coaching. I'll leave a link in the description below. Let's run the coaching outro at the end of this video so you can see a little bit more details about the coaching if you're interested. As always, ladies and gentlemen, go out there, have a beautiful day, crush those goals, dream big, achieve big things, have a bunch of kinky, wild, crazy, filthy, nasty, dirty, fun sex in the process with your partners and by yourself if you want to, and yeah, have a beautiful fucking time of it. If you've been wanting an amazing, awesome, elite sex life, tons of threesomes, plenty of wild adventures and great memories with awesome people, we would love to help you get there. Here's just a little bit of what our coaching clients have achieved in their time in the program. Renee had a threesome in just his second week of coaching, had a woman write him a love letter, and he went on to have sex with 12 women in just 12 weeks of coaching. Corky had his first threesome, slept with 7 amazing women, and made a ton of awesome memories with them. George and Powell both had sex with 10 women each in their 12 weeks, had a bunch of wild adventures along the way. Join me and join them by clicking the coaching link in the description below.